Well, I come in on the tail end of it. Now, the question's been asked. So this is my piece on it. I'm the youngest of 5 in my family. 2 brothers and 2 sisters, all musically inclined. So my household, I'm coming from an environment that was already full of music. My mom basically was a violinist and pianist in her formative years. And my dad just played a mean radio. It was like B.B. King and T-Bone Walker. Nobody else could, bump it. You weren't hearing anything else. But anywho, my brothers in particular would go out and they put groups together. And one in particular was called Starheen, which was basically a local band that did covers. I mean, they did everything. They did Rufus and Shaka Khan, Grand Funk Railroad, Parliament Funkadelic, J. Giles, whatever, put them on the map and stuff. Isley Brothers, ad infinitum. And they would have these rehearsals downstairs, either in the basement or in the garage. And I'm basically 12 years after my older brother. And so I was the pest that was basically going around like, what's this doing? Mom, come get him. And I was like the one that, I want to see, look, get your butt out of here, So I was just a part of the environment and all, and I was, but in addition to, my 2 brothers were the ones that actually applied music to themselves on a professional basis. My sisters sang. My older, younger sister basically plays piano, flute, and sings, but basically she decided that she had more safety in her job, and she had just recently retired from Sony as a chief account executive there. So her musical skills or whatever kind of stayed dormant unless it was in the house or something like that. But my brothers were the ones that were my direct influence as far as seeing what the benefits were. They were going out doing these gigs, they'd come back and they had new clothes, they had new gear and new, oh man, we was hanging out with such and such, and we was like, yeah man, and all that. So I'm up there like looking like Tito Jackson and stuff, like, wow, I was there too. But nowhere, but along with that, my mom basically would be yelling at my brothers to do various things around the house or just do things right. And all they go, just do something. I can't be doing this all by myself. So the only time I would actually see my mom cool is when she was doing chores around the house, and this certain type of music was on. It was called jazz. And it was from our radio station, our quintessential radio station back at home, WJZZ. And along with various other, like I mentioned, the various other records that we had in our family archives and stuff like that. So she would be going around there doing such and such playing. And I noticed that Mom was real cool. And she'd be like, oh, sing it, Billy, doing whatever around the house. And oh, get it. Ooh, So I wanted to align myself with that. I was like, Mom's cool with jazz music on. She's not yelling at anybody, and she, So that was my inlet, to be on Mom's good side, And that music was a chief component of it. But what had actually happened as a result of that was, after the singing was done, there was this other sound that came 9 times out of 10 afterwards, and it was a saxophone that was backing up whoever the singer was. And so I come at it from a more of a Christian step of being converted. I heard the saxophone, then I saw, just like those pictures back there, which are kind of along the lines of like what record dimensions, the album sleeves were. I saw the pictures that looked like that and saw the horns, and I was like, wow, look at and the sound was all engraved like this, and the cat would be, making them cool faces and stuff, and I was like, wow, I want to be that, and that sound would come out while that cat making that face and stuff. Oh yeah, So that started the bug right there. But because before that I was playing around, messing up my brother's instruments, and we also have a host of cousins that also were in music as well, and they'd have their instruments and and stuff over there, and I'd be flirting around with each instrument. But when the day was done, Kevin played guitar, Randy played bass, such and such sang, Ben played the drums. So I mean, these were, as far as I was concerned, these were parts that were all filled. So where do I, go in and, So saxophone basically came in and pretty much converted me, long short of it. And like I said, after hearing and seeing what the instrument was like, he wasn't done with me yet. He put out some more epitaphs to let me know that, hey, this saxophone here, I mean, you can look at this cat moving while he's playing it, seeing various flicks with various people playing it. And then the crowning achievement was when my brother's saxophonist actually moved in with us and brought his instruments over. So now I got these instruments in 3D in front of me. So I'd sneak up to what used to be my room where he was staying, and I'd pull out this Selmer Alto in particular, because it was factory gold plated and all that, and I'd make them put it together like I'd see on the album covers, short of the mouthpiece being on. I'd be making them faces and stuff, and I'm looking in the mirror like, ooh, yeah, this is really sweet, baby, James, where you at? Just put it back and put it up underneath the bed again. So these encounters happened quite a few times, and one day I just became totally oblivious to everybody around me. What? And so Charles Green was his name. He came upstairs and saw that I had this horn out, and he was, James, put my horn. And he saw that I actually had my fingers in the right spot, and he said, okay, put my horn back. And he watched me put this thousands of dollars of horn back in his case. I took off the neck, put it in a separate compartment, put the end plug on, and put the clamps on, put it back in there, and his cover over it and all that, and closed up the case. And thinking he'd get ready to go off or whatever. He took me down and said, I think your son wants to learn how to play saxophone. So that was the genesis of it right there.
Wow.
Heard, believed, saw, confessed, and that was it, And of course the saxophone, with the way that I heard it the first time, synonymous with jazz, so it seemed like the first, music to go into upon getting it and stuff. So, but I had to actually go through a Baroque recorder class. That was the Detroit public school way of weeding out individuals that didn't want to play instrumental music at a very cheap price. Because at the time, these Yamaha recorders were only $2.50 a pop. So you basically learned the octave key and the 6 foundation fingers for any woodwind instrument. You think of the flute, you think of the clarinet, you think of the saxophone, the oboe, the bassoon. All of them have these 6 foundation fingers and the octave key, okay? And then, of course, you have your auxiliary keys on that the pinkies are dealing with, and the thumbs as well. So I passed my Baroque recorder class with a ear test where the instrumental teacher, who said I wasn't going to mount anything, basically went to, played notes, and we had to pretty much tell him which note was higher than the other, and he played like wide intervals, and some of us would get tired, and the more closer the intervals came, my classmates basically gave up. And I took them all the way down to what I found out later were C and D flat. And I basically passed the class, and then I was instructed to go find a saxophone as a result. And I had to look in the old trading times and the classifieds, not eBay and Craigslist and all that stuff. Had to go through, and I found one under $200, and that was the way that I got into it. I still own that horn to this day. It's an old King from the 20s, silver plate that I have for $125.
Who was in that photo picture? Who was in that photo picture that you looked
Thank you.
Or that picture that you look at, saxophone?
Well, there were quite like Eddie Harris, for example, that album that he has playing with myself, where he's basically
Pause.
The playing with myself actually means that he's playing tenor sax and piano, and he's overdubbing. And he's playing various other, like the frap attachment that would go on that would help him to play more than one interval at a time, the reed trumpet. He was doing all of this. So, but on the front of it, he's holding this Selmer tenor, and he's like, then there's some King Curtis shots where, you know, of course, Memphis doing Grover Washington albums and stuff like that, where he's, you know, so I mean, those are all like, you know, pictorial, like with the lights from